Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today's Inspired Podcast. I'm super excited to welcome an unbelievable leader in our industry here to the Integrity family. And I'm excited to welcome Steve Giordano, the founder of Health and Wealth Agency, who is now joining the Integrity family. They're headquartered in Florida, and you will not find a more robust NFL fan, but certainly better Miami Dolphin fan in the world than Steve. And man, I can't tell you how excited we are. I think we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but I'm excited now we're finally partners, man.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, listen, congratulations on all the success that you've had. You know, we got connected a couple of years ago. I followed you on social media. I don't follow a lot of guys on social media, but I've loved watching you and your wife Margot, and now having a couple of boys, and your journey with the Dolphins. And I mean, you are like a super fan.
For sure.
And now they're finally good.
It's amazing.
Like you finally got there.
We suffered for so long.
It has been an incredible journey to see the Dolphins kind of where they are now, because it feels like they're putting it together.
100%.
In a big way.
Big time.
In a big way. So I know you're a huge fan. Do you go to every game?
I do. Every home game.
Every home game.
And a few road games.
And you take your kids, they're into it.
They're into it.
And you got, so Dominic's 3 now?
Yeah, he's going to be 3 in a week.
And then what's your other son's?
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
And he's how old?
About 17 months.
17 months.
Yeah.
Dude, we were talking about this. For some reason, for me, being a dad was, it was okay until they got to about 4. Like 2 started being cool, because they'd want to like talk to you and stuff, interact with you. I was kind of like useless until I couldn't do much with them until about 2, and then 4, man, it hit. Oh man, like the conversation skills. They want to play ball in the yard. And today my kids are 11 and 9, so they'll be about the same distance apart as yours are. And every night if I'm home, we're playing flag football in the yard. They're the most competitive kids in the world with each other. Man, it gets a little violent sometimes, and there's some blood that happens, but it is super fun. And so, man, I'm so excited for you and Margot and your whole family, man. It's awesome to see. And speaking of families, you have served so many families. You've built your business of you personally producing and meeting with people, and that's really hard. And then now you've brought in so many different agents and agencies that you're teaching them how to be successful. And if you look at the industry, especially in life insurance and the simplified issue products that we see, I don't know of a more successful person personally in personal production in the business than you are. It has been remarkable, and you've done it year after year. You've been so consistent, and then now you're teaching others to do that. And that's why we're so excited to now be partners with you, because this is kind of this tipping point of really where you're going. Now, how did you, let's start from the beginning. How did you get into the insurance industry?
It's interesting. I was in hospitality my entire career, and I was living in Tennessee, probably about...
Where in Tennessee?
I lived in Franklin, Tennessee for a while, originally from New York.
Beautiful area.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
So I'm in my restaurant one day, and a gentleman is selling an IUL to someone, to one of the patrons, and I overhear him, and I started thinking. I didn't have a retirement plan at the time, so I started talking to him. Came over, got me an IUL, and then he said, "Hey, I think you'd be good at this."
So you bought the product?
I bought the product.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like, "I think you'd be good at it," and commission based. I didn't really kind of get it at the time.
Yeah.
But I knew I liked the products, and I knew like. It felt good to me. It felt like it could be a passion. And then I started really digging into it. And then, fast forward a couple years later, Mark Mead, good friend of mine, Integrity partner.
I love Mark.
Big Dolphin fan as well.
How did he become a Dolphin?
Crazy,
He lives
right?
in New Jersey.
I know. It's wild.
How's that possible?
I know. The two of us, because I'm from New York. So I'm talking to him one day just about the Dolphins, and I started talking about insurance, and I saw through social media what he was doing. And the company I was looking at, they didn't have leads. So he goes, "Look, man, you don't have to work with me, but if you're going to do this, you need to work with leads." So then I went and got my license, started part-time about 2 months, and then went to the convention 2019 and got back from that. And it was full-time, full tilt, and just kind of went after it from there.
And you've been number one since then in so many different ways. And then you're now building this massive agency with Health and Wealth Agency that is truly I mean, just in a rocket ship mode. What do you like more, helping people plan or helping others learn how to help more people plan?
I like to help others. I mean, it definitely was probably a struggle at first because I love to sell, and really what I love is financially finding your problem and then fixing it with what our products do for people.
Yeah.
But I like to say, like, when you're a great player, it's great to then become a great coach. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the challenge now. How do I become that great coach for people?
Yeah.
But that's now the passion, because you can do what I've done on a bigger scale. You can multiply. So that's kind of where we're headed with our team, is just kind of really multiplying that, and just you can help even more people that way.
I love that. That's a great analogy. And it's so true. I mean, that's why so many great coaches, I mean, look at Deion Sanders.
Right.
I mean, talk about a great player. Dude, I love watching. They've had some ups and downs, but I love watching him, and he's old school, and like, you can't argue with the success he's had in every way. And he's like, man, if you want to make it, then follow me, and I can show you,
Exactly.
which you can do in a whole new way. Now, you came from working in a restaurant. In fact, I heard a rumor that you actually have a culinary arts degree.
That is a very true rumor, yes. I
You
do.
got a culinary arts degree. What led you to do that?
When I was 15, it was time to work. I wanted to get a car and the whole deal, and I got into culinary and restaurants, and I had a passion for it. My mom, Italian, my dad, big into cooking, so I enjoyed it and went and did that, and then kind of translated that to business management from there.
Do you still cook?
Yeah, I like to say I'm a grill master, we'll say.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
I'm a grill guy.
So do you like pellet grills, gas grills?
I
What do
have
you
both,
like?
actually.
Yeah.
I like doing like the prime rib for Christmas on
Yeah.
the pellet, and then doing my steaks on the gas.
Which pellet do you? Yeah,
Traeger,
dude, I got a Traeger.
best.
Man, it feels like you're cheating.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
So listen, I grew up. My dad had the big smoker, and you could put in like 10 briskets at a time, and you'd have to wake up at 2 a.m. and stoke the fire and drink a beer and like watch it for a second. You had to. I mean, it was like an all-night event. And I remember growing up, and if my dad was cooking briskets or something, he would cook them for everybody and then take them to friends and family. And then now with a Traeger, I mean, you can put it on there. You can set an alarm on your
Set your
phone.
app, it's
Your
amazing,
app.
yeah.
You can lay in bed, look at it, and go, I'm gonna dial that back a little bit. It's almost like cheating, but it's amazing.
It is.
I love them. I absolutely love them. I'm not that good at it, but I sure love doing that. And it makes, there's something about, especially if you're hanging out with people, sitting around a grill, and especially with dudes, like it just makes it easier for you to like connect and talk. And I love that aspect of it as well. What do you think? How do you correlate the kind of lessons you learned in culinary arts into business? What are the correlations there?
I think leading people, when I was cooking and then translated that to business management and running restaurants and running multiple restaurants, I think leadership and leading people.
Yeah.
And I always would try to find from people what they were looking for out of that career. And a lot of times in restaurants, people didn't want to be in restaurants forever. So I would kind of tell them, if you can learn to have a great work ethic and try to be as good as you can be and as great as you can be in this industry, even though it's not the industry you ultimately want to be in, eventually that work ethic is then going to translate to your next industry. So I always wanted to have that standard with people, and I think that helped a lot of people, whether it be there and even here, because you'd be surprised how many people in the industry now want to work with our team and in the life insurance space.
Yeah, it makes sense in so many ways. And the other part is something you hit on first, was you like serving people. If you're a people person, right, and you like to be around people, restaurants are a natural place to be. I started out, one of my first jobs was waiting tables. It was a great life skill, but it also teaches you, if you like being around people and you like serving people, making them happy, making sure that they get what they want, and you get to interact with so many people. That's just such a great on-the-job kind of training thing from that side. So you grew up in New York.
Yeah, Long Island.
How in the world did you become a Dolphins fan?
I'll never forget, I think I was 7, and they were playing Buffalo, and it was Sunday, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, Dan Marino, I'm like, he's my guy. And then I rolled with that ever since.
It's funny, there has never been another Dan Marino
Yeah.
in Miami.
No.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty remarkable that after that long, that I mean, he's still Dan Marino. Like, I mean, it's really. I mean, I could also say this about Cowboys. Like, there's one Roger Staubach, there's one Troy Aikman, and I don't care who you are. It's kind of like this huge gap between whoever is
For
next.
sure.
But man, Marino is still Dan freaking Marino, and he could sling it. And arguably, I think it's funny when people compare different quarterbacks and different things. And he's always up there, right? But man, it's hard to compare because I just don't know how you compare that level of greatness to anybody else in so many different ways because he was such a talented guy. So my son, we've talked about this. My son was, when he was 3, dude. So think about Dominic right now. My son was enamored with the color red. Like just enamored with color. He still is. We turn on TV and Kansas City Chiefs are playing, and he just became a Chiefs fan when he was 3 years old. And this was before Patrick Mahomes. So it was Alex Smith, and he just was like, I'm going for he used to call him the Kansas City. And to this day, for his birthday, he wanted a Kadarius Toney jersey. I mean, he's got if you go in his room, he's got the flag up with Kansas City Chiefs. He's like, I don't look at anything else but Kansas City. And it's amazing how those kind of things kind of just, it just become a fan, and it's super organic from that side. Are you a fan of any other New York teams?
Yankees.
Jets or?
Big Yankees guy.
Well, yeah, but baseball's one thing. But what about the Giants or the?
No, I like the Dolphins. I don't like anybody else.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I'm a Dolphins guy.
Especially not the Jets.
What about the Cowboys?
I like the Cowboys. My brother's actually a big Cowboy
Really?
fan. Yeah,
Oh,
huge,
good.
huge.
Man, Cowboys have disappointed me for so long. You get kind of excited, and then you're like, oh man, here we go again. This is back to the real world of that. Now, I understood your dad taught you your hard work ethic, and you have, and I can just tell you from the outside looking in, it's been fun to watch how hard you work and how committed you are to serving people in such a big way, and how hard you work at helping other people get into this industry and know what we're doing and how they can help people. What was it about your dad that taught you the work ethic?
My dad was a heavy equipment operator, and he was that guy who he got up every day, went to his job. He worked there over 40 years. And when I was growing up, I'll never forget when he would mow the lawn and it would be impeccable. He would do it once a week. It would be impeccable. When I was about probably 9, I wanted to do it. And he didn't let go of the reins right away because it was his thing.
Yeah.
And then he did. And then from there, I was like, all right, I need to make this the way he had it.
Yeah.
It needs to be impeccable in the way he has it. And I think I gained a lot of his respect from that. And then as I grew and working through restaurants and working in my career, I know the one big thing was I gained a lot of his respect from work ethic. So I've never really lost sight of that. What's amazing is when you work that hard in this vehicle, in this industry, and now being a partner with Integrity, the sky's really the limit of hard work. So that's just something, my dad, I always took from him, and I'll never forget those lessons that he taught me.
So what's your yard look like now?
I don't do it now. I have somebody that does it for me because I learned this lesson. I think Mark probably taught me this. Go make the money. Go do the big work that pays you the most and have somebody else do some other stuff. Yeah. I miss it though because I always like doing it. But it looks pretty good.
It's funny. My dad he's a Marine. I started out working at the funeral home, mowing grass, washing cars. And my dad, man, it had to be impeccable, just like you're talking about. And I respect that. I don't think I did it at 12 years old. But in looking back, it taught me so many different lessons. But whenever I finally started doing okay, I used to mow my lawn all the time. And I'm a big believer, don't waste time. So I never go out to lunch. I try not to waste a lot of time because it just gives you more time to focus on the business. But I remember whenever I moved to my house I live in now that I started Integrity at, I got a guy that came by to mow my yard, and I said, I'll give you my lawnmower if you'll mow my lawn for 10 times or something free. And I remember my dad came up to see me one time. He's like, "Where's your lawnmower?" I go, I gave it away. And I gave it, and he was just like appalled. Like, why would you ever give it away? And I was like, man, I literally was like, I was so done mowing the grass. I was like, I'm going to make it to where I cannot mow the grass anymore. And I've never really looked back since, man. But it was those life lessons of, if you're going to do something, do it right.
That's right.
Right. And that's something I know you're really passionate about, of really taking ownership, being able to ensure that your clientele feel very valued, your agents feel very valued and understood. And I think that that's one of the things that really attracted us to you personally as we were looking at partnering together, was this kind of common shared values of treating people the way you want to be treated, but also helping them excel. How do you think all that background that you've had will translate into this kind of new chapter as an integrity partner?
I think what's interesting now in the world we live in is hard work sometimes isn't as cool as it used to be. But I think if you can bring people back to that, the people that are going to work hard and go above and beyond in this vehicle, they have the opportunity to really do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of going old school. Like
Yeah.
you need to be, old school in your work ethic. And I think like using an example of like Integrity's platform of technology, blending the two things now, like when you have the hard work and technology and different things, when you teach that to people, they can really take their business to the next level by mixing kind of old school and new school.
So the old school aspect of it is something really important, I think, that a lot of people forget about, especially younger people, because they get into the industry. This is one of the most amazing industries in the world, and you can do very well financially and otherwise. But if you really apply yourself, you can set yourself up forever, right? And the most successful people in this business, the people who I admire the most, and the people who have just become icons in the business, but also just become, great friends and mentors to me, are the people who work the hardest. So you think about like Sean Mike, you work with Sean. Like, do you know anybody who works that hard?
No, and he legit sending you messages at 12 o'clock at night on a Sunday when he doesn't have to.
It's amazing. Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Boom, let's go. It is amazing to see. He had a podcast or a deal on Christmas Eve, and I texted him. I was like, bro, I cannot believe you're doing this on Christmas Eve, because I was watching it live. It was like a Facebook Live thing. And he was like, people need help. Like, I'm here to help people. And just that belief. Tim Ash is another one that just is just another amazing leader, just a hard worker. Ron Schertz, Ron founded Nexus, one of the most successful guys I know. And his mantra is control the grind. Control the grind. And it was his birthday the other day, and I texted him. I said, hey, happy birthday. I hope you have an amazing day. And look, he's been very successful, like wildly successful. And I thought he would say, hey, I'm going to be wherever with my family. He said, I've got 12 meetings today. Control the grind. And I was like, God, that's why I love you, man. Because I think the more successful we are, the more opportunity we have, and the harder we work, the more we can get out of this. And I could keep going through a bunch of examples, but it is remarkable that similarity, because I believe that there's in all the podcasts we've done, there's two similarities, two kind of common factors I've met with all of our partners. And they're very humble, like you are, just a very likable, humble person, and they're very hardworking, and they will outwork everybody. And frankly, none of them were all born into that success. They were just people that were humble about it, and I'll outwork you all day long. And that's what even attracts me to even more people. And they're very generous. They're very, very generous with their time, their money, their resources, and their ideas. And I love that. And I love also that you give back. You're very involved with the Miami Dolphins Cancer Foundation, right?
Yeah, it's the number one fundraising event in the NFL. They've raised about $64 million since 2010.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
So it's a Dolphin Cancer Challenge in February.
Wow.
So this year I'm doing 39 miles on my bike.
Yeah, so you do a lot of cycling with that, right?
Yeah.
You're a big dude too. A lot of big dudes aren't big into cycling, but
I just need a big bike. Like when I buy it, it's like the frame's got to fit me.
You got to have a custom-made bike
sure.
to hold the frame.
Yeah.
But man, that's awesome, man. What do you enjoy the most about giving back like that?
I think it's amazing in our community in South Florida what Sylvester Cancer Center has been able to do for people. Cancer is obviously such a huge thing that every family is affected by. So to be able to do it, partner with the Dolphins, being able to give back into the community. I know I've personally had cancer in my family, of family members, and it's just a great feeling to know that you can do something for others and make people smile. And, people do this race and, they're all elated at the end and they feel great about it. So
I tell you what, one of the things I found is giving back. I get more by giving back than I ever give. And it's something that's one of the most rewarding things that I've been part of. In fact, whenever I was working on our Leadership Academy with Tom Ziegler, one of the things we talked about is teaching our core values. And Tom said, you can never teach the core value of service in a classroom. We're going to have them experience. And so one of the things we did is we had this incredible challenge where we built these bikes. And then at the end of it, we gave those bikes away to kids that had never had a bike before. And it was one of the most impactful things I've ever seen by just being able to live out that core value of getting involved, looking outside of yourself. And the world tells you today, like, you're the man. It's all about you. You should buy the nice stuff. And that lasts for a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, when you find a way to give back when it's not about you, it's about other people, and you're giving up of something, man, it's always more rewarding. That's why I'm so passionate about what we're doing with Integrity Foundation, some of the things that we're doing just as a whole, about even giving our employees paid time off to go serve. Like, we literally will pay you to go and serve in your community because we believe so much in that. And just like what you're doing with the Miami Dolphins and the bike race and everything else, man, it even makes me want to support you and work with you more. And that's why I'm so excited. This is a humbling moment for us to have you coming into the Integrity family, because your business is just remarkable. What does it mean for you to be now joining as an Integrity partner?
I mean, it's truly humbling, number one. And I'd say what I love about it is the fact of the resources that Integrity brings to the table. I mentioned before technology. Yeah. I'm a big person into how we leverage technology to make the world a better place, right? Yeah. And where now we can do different things to get clients covered sooner. They can get their approvals quicker. They have more options, and it's all under this umbrella for Integrity. The fact that we're able to roll that out to our team, to be able to use to better impact, we're becoming, just this massive team at Integrity that we can just basically take over the insurance space and really help people and make them better off.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface. We've come a long ways on the technology side. We're just scratching the surface. We got a lot of cool things with, what we just did with our AI platform called Ask Integrity, a lot of what we've done on Medicare Center, now translating that to life, annuities, and wealth, and really holistically serving people. I say this a lot, and I truly believe it, especially now guys like you joining. I believe we're just getting started. And I believe that to my core, because we are truly just getting started.
Absolutely.
And now I'm super excited to be doing that with you.
Thank you.
And your team and Margot and your family. I can't wait to see where we go from here.
I love it.
Love you, man. And I'm so excited about bringing on another incredible partner into the Integrity family. This is another example of us just getting started, being able to see great businesses, great people like Steve and his team that are now saying, hey, I want to team up so I can go further, faster. And together, there's no limit to what we can achieve. So I hope everybody had a great time today. I'm so glad you got to meet Steve today, and I can't wait to see where we go into the future. God bless you and have a great week.